Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Looks Like We Made It. I'm Issy Howell and I'm joined by Managing Director and Creative Industry Expert Chris to talk all things video marketing. We are the father and daughter who run the fabulous video production company Howell Film, and we help everyone achieve amazing results with the power of video across all platforms and media, including TV, in a professional, creative and engaging way. Couple this with a clear video marketing strategy that puts target audiences first, your campaign is guaranteed to deliver. We're always up for candidly conversing about creativity. On this episode, we are discussing video marketing on a budget. So without further ado, let's get started. And of course, never miss an episode every Tuesday by giving us a follow or subscribe, as well as finding Howell Film on Instagram and LinkedIn. Let's go.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Did you have a good long weekend?
I had a very nice long weekend, actually.
Excellent.
Yes, it was lovely. I spent it in the. I spent it with some excellent older people, shall we say?
It's just the way you said that.
So yeah, all nice. Good. Yeah, really
that's how
good.
I spend every day.
Oh, right, okay. Even older than me is what I mean.
Okay, so video marketing on a budget.
How about you? Yeah, so did you have a nice weekend?
Yes, I like I said on the radio show I was on, I did nothing on behalf of Her Majesty. So I sat and enjoyed doing absolutely nothing.
Excellent. Okay, so video marketing on a budget.
Yeah, so you burst in and you had a question for me. And you were like, something to do with not having any money. Fire away.
Well, obviously my answer. Well, what I would say is having no money is just a challenge. That's all it is. You've just got to find a solution to. I don't mean that in a facetious way. I.e., you've got no money, deal with it. I don't mean that at all. What I'm saying is, from a video marketing perspective, having little or no budget shouldn't be a deterrent to doing some good quality stuff and still embracing the magic and the joy that is bringing video marketing to your business and organisation.
Absolutely. I think the key thing with it is that we talk about obviously how video content for smaller businesses in particular, or for businesses in general, is a fantastic springboard to just showcase what you do, celebrate what you do to your customers, and give them, before they've even met you, a brilliant experience to do with your company. But obviously there is that thing of, if you're a startup or a very new or smaller business, you might be there going, yeah, I need that, but things, I may not have the budget for it right now, or I don't know how to do it. But there are so many different outcomes you can have and outputs you can have.
And I'll give you a great example. So recently I took part in a pottery workshop as an out of work thing. Just because I love throwdown, and so anyway, I went along to this pottery workshop, and we all introduced ourselves. And the guy that was running it, Lee, smashing guy, said, "Oh, I want to take some pictures. I want to do some video of the pots I've made. What camera should I buy?" Asking me as the
one that's in your pocket.
Well, yeah. Well, I said the camera you should buy is a cheap tripod and a cheap light. Yes. And he said, "What?" And I said, "Don't buy a camera. You've got one."
Yeah.
And he said, because don't go out and don't spend. In fact, so I found him some links on that famous website that we all hate but we all use, and literally, an iPhone tripod is about £13, and a fairly decent,
even with a ring light attached to it,
ring light attached to it, or an okay light. Literally, you can be up and running with a little studio set up for less than £100. And that's my point. My point is that learning the basics, get a tripod. Literally, that's my answer to anybody who wants to film anything. Unless because instantly having a static image that even you can sort of you can get a bit of a pan going on, you can tilt it round, you can do all sorts of stuff. But having a steady starting point really gives clarity to your video, and it really gives a professional feel. And learn about lighting. Yeah. Literally, if you go on YouTube and type in, help me with my lighting for product photography or product videography, there's millions of people. There's and then like all these things, there's a 9-year-old in Philadelphia who knows more than any of us.
Well, there's always
and there you are. You're up and running.
There is. I mean, the reality is a bit like any industry, is that the raw basics of the industry do they obviously what filmmakers learn at university, what they learn when they're on the job. It's part of what we do. It's not like some kind of like mystical thing. It is genuinely production. But you can apply the very basics and still get quite a lot of results, because I did a live on this on Instagram recently, all about it, so you can have a look at it. But I made a very, very strong point, I believe, in that you shouldn't feel discouraged when you look at stuff, or you look at content on YouTube, you look at content on Instagram, you look at content on TikTok, or wherever it may be. You don't want to look at that and go, oh, that looks brilliant, I couldn't do that myself, I may as well not bother. Or, oh, that looks brilliant, that looks like it took them an hour, I'm going to try and have a go at this myself. And it's a really elaborate, transition filled, intensely beautifully lit, it's got cinematography, it's got this and that. You can't achieve that, and often the things that look the most effortless took the most amount of time, and that's kind of how we do it in what we do. But you shouldn't just look at the highest level of stuff and think, right, I've got to achieve that. I think there is a real value in just keeping things simple. So you said just have a tripod and some nice light, and make sure people can hear you. Make sure you're not like right in front of a sunny window or in the dark, and just keeping it's simple, but staying focused on your message and having some value in what you're saying will make a massive difference to your viewability.
100%. And I would add to that by saying you've got to practice. You've got to keep doing it. Practice.
Absolutely.
Just don't put yourself under any pressure. If you got, you can, and also come and talk to people like us. As we all know, we do like a chat. You'd be amazed. We get lots of people contacting us, but not as many as you'd imagine. People ringing and saying, oh, my son or daughter wants to go to university. What do you think about this course? Or, I want to get into video. Where do I start? I want to start a video business. How much money do I need? All that sort of stuff. And I think go and talk to people that are doing it for a living. Because actually, what's the worst thing they can say is go away. Well, that's it. You can live with that. But generally speaking, most people, particularly most creative people, they like to talk about what they do. They're passionate about what they do, and they'll give you some real insight into into how to to answer your question, how to get on with it. But practice. Because again, using the pottery. Not that pottery is fresh in my mind today on this podcast. I'm
still waiting for the mug I ordered.
Well, no, it takes 6 weeks to fire the mug I made.
God, how big is the mug?
No, but the pottery guy was saying though, a lot of people that go on his course buy a potter's wheel, but then they never even bother firing the finished pots. They just do it. They make the pots, and then they scrunch them up and chuck them in the. It's a bit like
fishing and putting the fish back,
they just scrunch up, put it in the clay pot, and keep going. And when they've mastered it and they've created something they really, really want to fire, then they get that fired. But there are people that will make hundreds of pots, and then just to hone their skill, and then it's the ones later on that they get fired, or ones that particularly blow them away that they get fired. But they don't have an urge to go, right, every pot has to be
just to prove a point.
Or just because at the end of the day, who wants like 60 bowls that are all the same? Or or who wants
to drink your cup of tea and there's a hole in it.
At the end of the day. But what I'm saying is to hone your skill, keep practicing without everything you make, you've not got to publish. Everything you make, you've not got to put on YouTube. You're not going to put on Instagram, whatever. Just make some films. Just have a go. Try some. There's tons of free software out there. Anybody that's got an Apple computer gets iMovie. Just get out there and just do it.
I think that's really how, in reality, when you really boil it down right back to the beginning, even creatives in the creative industry or professional creatives were beginners as well at some point. At some point in my life, I wasn't born clutching a DaVinci Resolve speed editor.
I was.
No, but it's something that there is a point where earlier on in your life you went, right, I'm going to learn this. And I think particularly with something like editing, I mean, there are things that make people maybe more naturally talented at it, a bit like drawing or singing or whatever. Any kind of creative art has some kind of, you can be a natural in it, but also it comes with just trial and error. It's being adventurous enough to be able to just press a button and go, what does this do? What does this do?
And you can't break anything. You can't hurt anything. And as Picasso said, everybody's born an artist. It just gets beaten out of you.
Oh,
it's true. Honestly, seriously, everybody's people go, I'm not creative. I've got a creative bone in my body. You think, well, of course you are. Of course you
Yeah.
are. Just try stuff. Do something. Just squidge some bit of clay. See, I'm obsessed. Squidge some clay between your fingers. You know, in a sense, you can pursue something, and you can, and even your approach to it can be creative. Even I'm a real drum banger for people just getting out there, trying stuff, and just being a bit adventurous. Just give it a go.
Absolutely. And you got to think like. Creativity, you can't. I mean, it's something that doesn't cost money.
No, but then to caveat what I'm saying, I'm because my brain is obviously kind of about 6 seconds behind my mouth. Just to kind of caveat what I was saying earlier, though, is before you apply your kind of starting point films you're making, don't apply them to your £1 million business off the bat. Although saying that, you should then be paying a proper film company to make your films anyway. So maybe that's not relevant. What I'm saying is, though, don't go, I've got no budget for films because for whatever reason, and then go, I'm going to make my own, and then be a bit kind of homemade and amateurish, and then apply that to your business straight away. That's a bad move.Hat's a great move is to have fun making some films with friends and family or whatever, and then when you're in a position when you can apply those skills, then go along to perhaps some of the workshops that you run, and learn about some of the key things like lighting, sound, copyright, which is a big issue, issue.
Absolutely.
And actually then apply those skills. And then what you can do is then you'll realise to do it properly is actually a lot of work. And then you realise why people like us charge a very reasonable amount to produce high quality content.
Absolutely. And I think
that was a bit ranty, wasn't it?
No, I appreciate it because because when you think about it, it's something I don't know if you get asked this, is that you're a film company. Why are you telling people to do it themselves? And actually, it helps us. It works for us because we're not selling products. We're selling an experience. We're selling a result at the end of a process that people will get a real good professional benefit from. But the reality is that if people have gone through that process before, or they've had some experience, they've kind of pressed export or they've pressed post and they've seen it happen, they've seen some results come and they've gone, oh, that was exciting, or oh, I got a flurry of customers after I put this video out, or oh, I got 10,000 views of this video, oh my god, it's a boost to people's business, it's a boost to their kind of confidence and everything like that, and we then get them skipping into the office going, oh my god, I know what you mean now, I've experienced it, I know that this works, and now it's the same formula, but we have obviously a professional element to it. But the actual process of putting content out there and having a strategy and having a focus is something that people can do at home.
I agree with you 100%. Well said. There's no mystery to it. It's just basically graft.
I think that is the mystery.
Problem. We actually go out of our way to demystify the film industry.
Because how many people have you spoken to in the world of business who have said, I've recorded so much content that I'd love to put out there, and what is it that they say is stopping them from putting it out there in terms of time consumingness?
Well, it's editing, isn't it? That's the key. As
it
anybody,
takes me hours.
As anybody who has spoken to us at length or listened to us at length or whatever knows that if you've got a 0 to 100 scale to produce a film, well, 0 to 70 is probably pre-production, planning, building, logistics, selling, organising, logistics, and all those things. 70 to 72 to 75 is probably filming the damn thing. Yeah. And then 75 to 100 is producing it and editing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on a sliding scale, that's pretty much kind of how it is.
There's a lot of content sat on people's phones. There's a lot of content sat on people's computers that they go, I'm really good on camera and I enjoyed filming it, and filming it's great, but it's also like going to the supermarket and buying a bunch of raw ingredients and then not knowing what to cook out of it and just sort of leaving it in your cupboard. Good
analogy.
Well, it's true because that's what editing is. It's taking a bunch of ingredients, a bunch of raw ingredients that don't really serve a purpose on their own, and putting them into an enjoyable, digestible dish. That's all.
An enjoyable, digestible dish.
That's all. That's all.
I'm going to use your analogy and expand on it.
Excellent. I love an analogy.
I'm going to raise you. It's a bit like going out and spending $2,000 on a posh cooker. if you don't know anything about, if you can't cook a meal. You can't. That's the same with cameras with us. People go, oh yes, I'm gonna go out and get myself a Red. I'm gonna go out and get myself this. I'm gonna get, I've been advised I need to spend £10,000 on a lens, and it's kind of like, well, if you don't know how it works, go and spend not go on the flea market and get a lens for 30 quid. Because in reality, it won't do you any good. You won't know how to work it. And the same goes for your cooking and the cooker and the ingredients and stuff.
It's about putting something together, like because
I feel ranty. I don't know why. I'm ranting.
It's the post long weekend that's getting to you. But I think and that's the key thing with any of this is that it is about that final product, and also about having an idea of what you're going to do with it afterwards. So you want to, when you're making the content, you just want to, the whole time you're planning it, or that you're filming it, or that you're editing it, or attempting to edit it, and there's training on that in my future workshops, is that whole thing of having just something next to you on a post-it or something reminding you, what am I doing this for? Why am I doing it?
Yeah, a bit of planning.
And having that sense of, because you can go off on tangents, as we know, you can do all sorts of different things and then put something together, and then by the time you got to the end of putting that film together, you might think, well, that's nothing like what I originally thought, which is absolutely fine, so long as you know how to apply it in a different way. It's all about, remember, video marketing isn't a platform, it's a resource, it's a tool, it's something that goes on other platforms to enhance your visibility, enhance something, or get you a result. So there's no point just making content willy-nilly that has no goal out of it. It's a bit like going to a networking event and just talking about the weather and going home. Like, for businesses, there has to be some kind of goal in mind at the end of it, and video content acts in the exact same way.
Brilliant. So what if it was a network event solely for meteorological experts?
Well, then it's like going and talking about hot dogs the whole time and going home.
What if it was the?
Okay, it's been on for a while. but you see what I mean?
I do see what you mean.
And I think that that a lot of social, and it's not all about social media, but a lot of digital platforms now have given a lot of tools to people who aren't professionals to be applying some creative skill and some creative flair, and like Instagram Reels, TikTok, etc. I could go on and on.
And your customers might like it, because that's the other thing as well. So say as an example, you have a product that needs to be assembled, or you have a product that needs some kind of instructions or interaction. Actually, you setting up your iPhone with a tripod and a light and saying, thanks for buying my product, this is how you put it together, people love all that sort of stuff. And yes, you could and should hire someone like us to do it. But if you can't afford it, or you don't want to do that, then do it yourself. Because your customers will love it.
Yeah, and there's always consultancy as well. So there's always asking people and saying, well, how does this work? But what about, and obviously we're talking about how like you'll put something out there and it'll be amazing, but what if you put something out there yourself that you've made and it doesn't perform very well? What's your advice in that respect?
Well, if it doesn't perform very well, I would say...
Or if they get a bit of I was expecting thousands of views, and I was expecting loads of comments and loads of likes, and I didn't get any of it. Oh, that's disappointing. And then they immediately just go, oh, well, I won't try that again then. That was a waste of time. What's your advice to those people?
Well, I'd say do try it again. Learn from it, and go again. Just say, okay, well, why didn't it? Ask people why they didn't like it, why it didn't work. Just ask the question,
Ask a professional why it doesn't work. And the same way you can ask, why did this work, or how do I do this? I would say ask someone who works in the creative industry, someone who works in marketing, or someone who works as an editor or a filmmaker or whatever, just to look at what it is you're doing. And because I think it's equally good if your content performs really well or it performs really badly, because either way, it's giving you information, it's giving you data that gives you a sense of what your customers are wanting. So if you're a shoe shop and you put out a series of reels about trainers and you don't get any views or any likes at all, and people aren't interested, and you start to lose followers, you might think, oh, well, maybe it's saying to me, or maybe I need to look at my market research. Maybe are my customers interested in high heels? Are they interested in boots? What am I going to start putting out there? And really it's a case of, again, trial and error and seeing what sticks, because it'll amaze you sometimes what things work for businesses that they never thought. It might be reviewing something or unboxing something, or just some people will just show their normal day in the life, and people are curious about that. Like, find out what it is that your customers need from you at that point.
Brilliant.
Right.
I literally couldn't say that any better.
Thank you. I'll take that. Okay, so that was really it for today. In terms of a question for you, what is the best thing you can do on a budget?
What's the best
Give
thing?
me a good idea for like saving some money but doing something
What
cheaply.
the best thing you can do on a budget?
Like, I don't know, a day out, a meal, what sort of... Give me something cheap that people can enjoy.
A walk.
Okay.
I mean, if you're getting down to like just you enjoy. Well, I could be all kind of smoochy and it's like enjoy somebody else's company, enjoy the company of your
a walk
family.
is actually a good idea.
A walk, go for a walk.
Yeah.
If you look at all the kind of great kind of creative minds, there's a common thread, generally speaking, that for just to clear their head or help them with sort of madness or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I'm thinking like Dickens, just a lot. There's a lot of evidence that creative people like to walk and look around you, work your senses. That's the best thing you do on a budget.
Have you heard of the imaginary dog mentality?
The imaginary dog,
which is where apparently you know how it's a mentality of dog walkers to have.
Are you going to say like you have a lead but no
just
dog?
an invisible lead? No, because dog walkers, because they have a dog, they will walk twice a day. They'll go on and they'll actually exercise. Yeah. But there is a thing where you should almost treat it like you have to. There is something telling you have to go out and walk twice a day, because people, unless they have a pet, don't do that. So you should actually say, right, I need to actually walk twice a day. I need to go out and walk around the park and come back, and it's the imaginary dog. But in terms of a budget, I'd say walking is a good idea. Not unless you're going several hundred miles, and don't pull a Forrest Gump in that respect. But I'd say just try and put a bit of flavour into things, like just because my mother is very good at this, where she will get like several things from Lidl that cost about 20p each, and then it'll taste like a Michelin star meal. I think try and be like savvy with different things and try and make things taste good.
Brilliant. Well, that's the case. That's like sort of making something greater than the sum of its parts, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's like taking things like humble things of like 3 ingredients and just creating something
That's
amazing.
it, because I'm always thinking, what my mum makes, these amazing dishes, are always going to take a billion different ingredients that'll cost all this money, and then I'm there and she's actually got like something that's like 20p, and then something else from
I must caveat that, because the woman's actually got a choice of saffron. So so there is another side. There is another side of that.
Well, maybe she's just trying to tell me something by giving me budget meals. I don't know, but yeah. So that was it for today. That
Fantastic.
was good. I enjoyed that.
That
so we
bit
hope
ranty in parts, but we got there.
We'll take it. We hope you've enjoyed listening. Of course, if you enjoyed us so much, feel free to give us a rating and let us know what you think. If you have a question for us to answer, or you want to be a guest on our podcast, please go to www.howellfilm.co.uk and drop us a line via our contact form. There's still plenty more to talk about in the world of video marketing, or rant about. Once again, we're Chris and Izzy from Howell Film, and we help everyone achieve amazing results with the power of video across all platforms and media, including TV, in a professional, creative and engaging way. Couple this with a clear video marketing strategy that puts target audiences first, your campaign is guaranteed to deliver. Of course, never miss an episode every Tuesday by giving us a follow or subscribe, as well as finding Howell Film on Instagram and LinkedIn. Bye for now.
Bye for now.